guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoilery gush for Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. As I said, this video will have spoilers in it, so if you haven't read this book, go ahead and check out my spoiler-free review, which will be linked on the screen. So like I said in my review, I really loved this book. I grew up on urban fantasy, and so there's a lot of things about this book that while at times, I wouldn't call this book tropey, but while there was the existence of some tropes in here, I found that more comforting than anything else because there's a lot of new stuff in here too. So I enjoyed seeing some of those tropes. I'm just like, yeah, that urban fantasy trope. It's nice to see ya. So first off, I love this post-apocalyptic world where all of these Native American creatures and magics and everything are just running amok. Amazing. Because typically speaking, obviously with urban fantasy, you have these other creatures. You have like your vampires and your werewolves and your like typical European gods. And in this case, you have that with all these Native American creatures, and I'm like, yes, give it to me. And it almost is like a little bit creepier because I don't know what to expect. When you're reading an urban fantasy like any other urban fantasy, you're like, all right, the vampires are gonna pop out, the like werewolves. This is like, I don't know what you're gonna throw at me this time. And there's probably gonna be a lot of gore and violence, but I don't know what kind. Keeps me on my toes. I do enjoy Maggie as the main character. Is she a character kind of trope that I've seen before? Yes, but I do feel like the author is aware of that and is kind of like saying, we're gonna develop her, she's gonna grow, don't you worry. But there is some stuff with her as far as like her own internalized misogyny. You know, like I mentioned in my review, when she gets dressed up by Clive and she's like, oh, I don't like this halter, I look too sexy. It's like, oh my gosh, this is such a typical urban fantasy girl trope theme. Like, you know, and she's just like, I'm good all by myself and all of that stuff. Like, I don't need a partner. Like, they're always like this. So on one hand, I'm like, stop it, but I'm also like, oh, come on, we can do something a little bit different. But like, I sort of love it. I'm sort of okay with it. I really, really like the dynamic between her and Kai. I wasn't expecting to. I was like, oh, okay, like they're gonna be flirty. What? I really liked it. And when they started to kind of like get together, I really liked it. And I'm very like emotional, but also happy about the fact that she had to kill him. But he's gonna come back, like you know he's gonna come back, but that's also gonna keep them kind of apart. Like he's probably gonna come back like a little bit different and all this stuff. Because so I thought maybe they're rushing just towards like an end goal, and I'm like, okay, either he's gonna like die for sure, because sometimes that happens with urban fantasy books. The first guy that the girl gets with is like one that ends up dying, or like something like this is gonna happen. And I like that this is what happened because I think it's gonna be very, very interesting. He's big medicine, you know, he's sweet. I just really love him. I don't know how to pronounce the character, like the half-god monster hunter, her old love interest, but I found that situation very compelling. There's something, this is a trope or a character like path that I enjoy that's highly specific, and I couldn't even tell you where else I've seen this, but when we have this like borderline abusive older man in a relationship with a younger girl that she is then overcoming and taking control back from, I like that. I think it turns this like abusive trope on its head. You know, it's obviously shown in the book that like that he's not a good guy, that like she shouldn't want to be with him, or like that to progress her character she's gonna get over him and all that kind of stuff, and that he is kind of like twisted, but it's not overly romanticized. I feel like a lot of things that he did could have been romanticized in other book series and they weren't in here, so I deeply appreciate that. And I like that it's her kind of taking back her identity that was so tied into him, and her self-confidence that was taken away and tied into him. I really enjoyed that. I know it's a highly specific like trope or storyline, but I enjoy it. I really like also like the coyote and some of these other gods that we're getting that are just like these trickster. Whenever you have a trickster god around in urban fantasy, it's like, yes. And I like when you have gods presenting in human form. It's also something I really enjoy, very like American gods kind of thing. So there's a lot of things in here that just really spoke to me personally and that I deeply enjoyed. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of this series. I think Maggie's going to grow as a character, realize that she's not just like one thing, this, you know, born killer and that's it. You know, she's gonna have more of these friends. You have her going to these different places. When they went to that Shalimar, I think it was. I love again, in urban fantasy books, when the characters are going to these like set locations that you know are going to pop up again, like the Shalimar's going to pop up again, Grace's All-American's going to pop up again, like these places that are just going to pop up a lot, I like that setup. I like how mystical and mysterious all of that was, and I just really enjoy this world, the brutality of this world, but also how different it is to other worlds that I've read about, and I think she's gonna grow a lot, and I'm very intrigued about her. I'm very intrigued about her and Kai's dynamic and what's gonna happen there, and these different kinds of monsters and all of these things. So while the end of the book I feel like rushed along a lot, and that just kind of tends to happen in a lot of urban fantasies and wrap very quickly, I am very intrigued for the future of the series, and overall, highly enjoyed it. I gave it 4 to 4.5 out of 5 stars. I gave it 4 on Goodreads, but as I've been talking about it, I'm like, is this really like a 4.5 star read? It's possible. Also, I just thought about how I really want to see a series, a TV series on this. Like, bring back the urban fantasy TV shows. Ever since True Blood went away, I've been needing more. This would be good. Netflix can do it or something. It'd be great. So comment below and let me know your thoughts on Trail of Lightning. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon.